So, today in this class, I will be discussing about the antibiotics that are actually acting on the cell membrane. So, this is actually the bacterial cell wall, and this is actually the bacterial cell membrane. So, actually, the drugs that are actually acting on the cell membrane, they will actually kill the bacteria. So, they are actually belonging to bactericidal. Actually, the cell membrane, it is actually phospholipid bilayer. So the drugs which are acting upon the cell membrane are this polymyxin. It is one group, and another group is lipopeptide. So in the polymyxin group, so basically the polymyxin, they are actually cationic detergents that will go and bind to this phospholipid, and they will actually create pore. So they will actually create pore, that is pseudopore, so that the solutes and the water, it enter into the cell, and it can actually cause the cell lysis. So, and it will actually kill the bacteria. Okay. So discussing the spectrum of action of this polymyxin. So what is the spectrum of action? It is actually acting upon the gram-negative aerobes, the gram-negative aerobic organism. So the polymyxin, there are two drugs, that is polymyxin B, which is called a neosporin, and the polymyxin E, that is called a colistin. So both the neosporin and this colistin, it can be used topically for the bacterial skin infections. So for the bacterial skin infections, you can use topically. This colistin is having an additional action, that is actually it can be used in IV, intravenously, for the treatment of the multi-drug resistant organisms such as Pseudomonas, Klebsiella, Enterobacter. So such organism you can actually give this drug intravenously. But the side effect is that it is actually toxic to the kidney, because it can cause it is actually nephrotoxic, and it can also cause neuromuscular toxicity. And one more thing that you have to remember is that this actually cannot be used along with the aminoglycoside, because you know that aminoglycoside, it is also having the same side effect, that is nephrotoxicity. So as they are sharing the same side effect, it is actually contraindicated. The aminoglycoside you should not use along with this colistin. So that's all that is about colistin. So the second drug group which I have to discuss is about the lipopeptide. So it's a peptide, right? That means there is actually poor oral absorption. So it can be given through IV, intravenously. So what is the spectrum of action? So the drug in the lipopeptide is daptomycin. So what is the spectrum of action? The spectrum of action is the gram-positive organisms, okay, such as Staphylococcus, Enterococcus, okay. So this is actually the drug of choice for the vancomycin resistant Staph aureus. Actually, Staphylococcus aureus, which are resistant to vancomycin, the drug of choice is daptomycin. It can also be used for the empirical treatment of methicillin resistant Staph aureus. Methicillin is a penicillin. So the Staphylococcus aureus, which are resistant to methicillin, actually as an empirical treatment, you can use daptomycin. This is a drug of choice, VRSA. Okay. And you can also use in vancomycin resistant enterococci. This daptomycin, there is one special thing that you have to remember about this daptomycin. That is, this is actually inactivated by surfactants. So, is it make any idea? For example, I will give you an example. In case of pneumonia, what if you give this daptomycin? It gets inactivated by the surfactants. So, in case of pneumonia that is caused by the VRSA, vancomycin resistant Staph aureus, this is not the drug of choice. In that case, the drug of choice is linezolid. So, this is actually the drug of choice, linezolid. So, in case of pneumonia, you must not use daptomycin. So the side effect that is caused by the daptomycin are, it actually affects the muscles, it causes myopathies, and it actually affect the kidney, it actually affect the neurons, that is neuropathy, and it can also causes allergic pneumonitis. So that's all with the drugs that is acting upon the cell membrane. Okay.